Welcome to another episode of last week's Comics Today. I just did a bunch of rambling about Spider-Man. Hopefully I can do this without as much rambling, but I have 10 issues here. It's a big stack. Somehow I read this within 48 hours of purchase, and there's a lot of words here. So let's just start with Cobra Commander. I actually read this in the back room of the comic shop. There was kind of a conversation because I have complained about Cobra Commander for the last two issues. I was intrigued by the first one, issues 2 and 3. I didn't really feel like much happened in 2 and 3. Felt like the Dreadnoks were the main character instead of Cobra Commander. This rights that ship. Holy cow. This is great. I was going to make a comment about the mask, and I did make that comment in the back of the comic shop, and they're like, spoilers? But anyway, his mask was damaged last issue, and it's not reflected in the cover, is the point I was trying to make. But anyway, there's this secret bunker where this guy, I don't know who he is, I don't think he's named, is working on Energon. He knows the name Energon, which I don't know if he should. I don't know. Meanwhile, Enforcer is enforcing, really. Dreadnoks are just getting hurt, killed all over the place. There's this long conversation about their plans, about what's going to happen next, what has happened off-panel thus far, and we get to this sequence here with some insect robots. Look at that. Anyway. So, Cobra Commander goes back up top after Enforcer has done his job, and he goes, alright, mission accomplished, let's go. And Enforcer's like, how about no? And that's when Cobra Commander realizes his place in the hierarchy is not as high as he expected. And he fights Nemesis Enforcer, and it is awesome. Look at this happening, and this dive bomb, and then boom. Right? And then we get a little bit of Iron Man going on here with that. Look at that. Awesome. Awesome. I loved it. And then this. It's great. Loved it. Loved it. I'm curious how this ends. I'm super curious about the Destro miniseries. I don't know if I'm in yet for Destro and or Scarlet. I want to see how Duke and Cobra Commander end before I commit to anything. I don't know. It's hard to tell where this is going. I might check back in later after these conclude, but this is a great issue. Up next we have Spectacular Spider-Man issue 2. Issue 1 was pretty solid. There was some weirdness that definitely continues here. There's a random appearance by Jane Foster. I can't remember what she's a doctor of, what her field of study was, but here she's talking about cells exploding. Okay, sure, whatever. This is a continuation of, I don't know, weird little insertions that were in the first issue. Still happening here. And they are possibly even more confusing now than they were back then. Here's a bunch of cameos of people that we met in the first issue that don't have as much to do here, but there is more weird continuation. So this, I don't know, I feel, I'm gonna guess like there are some clone replacements flying around, or there's Chameleon maybe pretending to be people. But, yeah, just general weirdness. Here's another meanwhile of this guy. Looks like Lupin a bit. And, Daredevil. There's a very strange face. I don't know if I could find the panel again, but there's a very strange face in this. This one right here, where her mouth just looks off-center. Or maybe it's her nose. I don't know what's going on there. But, I see this in anime sometimes, especially the more recent stuff, where it will be sort of a face in profile, but you can see the entire mouth on one side of their head, and we're just like, I get what you're trying to do, but it's just, the execution is very, very strange. Anyway, yeah, her mouth nose combination just seems off here. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. But there's not much progress as far as what's going on, especially with the Warrens, and Vermin shows up, and this clone that I had no idea even existed shows up right there. So I guess Miles also has a clone. I don't know. It's a thing that I'm reading. World's Finest, issue 26. This is a continuation of the Batmite and Mixoplex story, the fifth dimensional stuff that's going on. And this feels like just two creators having fun as if they're kids, just playing with toys. It's frankly an insane amount of fun. I hope they're having as much fun as it seems like they are. There's Batman staring down Mixoplex. It's amazing. It's fantastic. I, of course, love the art, and the writing is great. I recommend it. We don't get much information about this hooded figure that has been seen previously, but I think he does now have a face. This is pretty entertaining as well. I think Todd's probably going to make a toy out of that at some point. I'm surprised he hasn't done more of Dan Morris designs, but whatever. This guy, I think, is probably the villain of the series. Arc, at least. Yeah, it's great. It's great. I'm enjoying this more than the Kingdom Come arc. This is fantastic. This is what I wanted. I Heart Skullcrusher issue 2. I really enjoyed issue 1. Issue 2 is also great. It's comparatively maybe not as great as some of the other stuff in the stack, but it is still an incredible amount of fun. I'm still going to recommend it. There is a, frankly, insane sport, and the rules of that do get explained here. It's very funny. It's a lot of action. The art's great. Writing is great. She does form her team this issue. There's some great stuff with the coach. There's this rival team. It's fantastic. It's a lot of fun. It's really well executed. Yeah, I recommend it. I don't want to say much else. It's just really good. Untold Destiny of the Foot Clan. It really aren't all destinies untold unless you're going to, you know, fortune teller. I don't know. I find the title slightly odd. Whatever. Untold Destiny. History was the other Santaluco story. Destiny. I did read, this is maybe a couple of weeks ago, there was the Ninja Turtles source book that came out, and here Casey Jones looks like a Ghostbuster. But I did look at the first issue that has an entry for Casey Jones, and I didn't see anything about the Foot Clan. I did not ultimately buy that issue, I just flipped through it in the comic shop, but I still don't know how or why he's working with Karai. I'm curious. Not enough to do any additional information hunting. But there's the Dogstar clan, and this is the continuation of Karai's fight against them. There is this weird scene where she's going down to hunt this guy, and I'm like, am I supposed to know who that is? I have no idea. So it's one of those things that's just happening, and like, I don't... Am I supposed to know? She looks fantastic, by the way. I would buy a toy of her, except NECA just made a toy, and she looks like Elektra, and I'm like, can you make her look a little more badass, a little more ninja? Anyway. This is interesting. Stepping back into the Ninja Turtles world before Jason Aaron takes over. I'm still playing catch-up, clearly, because I don't know what's happening. I don't know who people are. But I'm enjoying it, and the art's gorgeous. Speaking of gorgeous art, I Killed Darlings, issue 8. This is the end of the series. There is a collection coming. I believe it's in the July solicits that just came out, but this is it's a great ending to the series. There is this, by the way. So there's this opening sequence. At the end of the previous issue, our leads and crew were escaping from a witch. A witch in an imaginative, magical place. It's very heavy on just some weirdness. I do love this name, too. Kitchen Drawer. Anyway. 8 years later, I'm like, holy shit. There's the witch. There's a big witch showdown, and it doesn't involve sky beams like the stupid... I borderline hated that Vision and Wanda show. I know everyone loves it, but I borderline hated it, and there was one great scene about grief. Otherwise, the show kind of stank. Anyway, there's a showdown between witches, and it doesn't involve sky beams, and it's great. There is this giant f***-off monster thing, and this bird of light. It is awesome. It's well executed, and I loved it. I'm telling you, you should get the collection when it comes out in a couple of months. This is incredibly well done. Now we're really getting into it. Like this is an oversized issue. There's a lot to go through, but then these I think are just really heavy on words. And then there's the Weatherman, which I was trying to save till the end, and I just couldn't. I couldn't do it. So, Hellblazer. There's a lot going on here. This, I believe, was an 8-issue series, and again, the July solicits just came out, where it says it's now of 11. I'm not complaining. I just found that slightly odd. I didn't see any sort of announcement elsewhere, but now it's 11 issues. So, John and crew show up in this small town, and they're trying to help both the small town and get Swamp Thing back to his max strength, because he's not there yet. And this is a really well done issue. The writing is phenomenal. The art is great. There's some weirdness going on. This is kind of the start of it. Weirdness mostly surrounding Swamp Thing, but it's just really exceptionally well done. There is, because of course there is, something terrible that happened in the small town, and John is trying to set it right, and he does so in a very Constantine way. I think there is, I'm going to say, one spelling mistake, and I'm not talking about the accents. I don't know that this is accurate. Could you stop on out here? Shouldn't that be step? Anyway, that's the one thing that I'm just like, that doesn't seem right. Anyway, yeah, assholes in a small town. Running, though, is phenomenal. Oh, I loved it. I loved it. It's it's on the denser read side, and the subject matter is heavy. And that led into Golgotha Motor Mountain, which this is issue 2, and again, just dense with words. There's all of these text boxes, which is an unknown narrator, and I had to go through and basically I would read these in sequences. So I read all of these text boxes because here it's reciting poetry and later it's talking about a movie, this movie, and I'm like, I can't flip back and forth and keep track of both of these things, so I need to read one at a time. And this is a drug-induced vision that one of our lead characters is having while this black text box conversation about a movie and poetry is going on, and we meet, I'm going to say, the antagonist for the series, this guy here, who is a real piece of work. Holy shit. That's his deputy licking his boot, if you didn't pick that up from all of my movement. Anyway, these two guys, and look at this. Like, what is going on there? Very colorful guys. And then, look at this. He's riding this thing. Holy shit. There's so much weirdness happening here. I believe, because I'm not entirely sure, but I believe I'm still enjoying it. I will get to issue 3. It's very strange. This is definitely not going to be for everyone. I can't broadly recommend it like I can some of this other stuff. It's just very odd. If you want to see something different, definitely get this. The art, Robbie Rodriguez, this is like maximum. It's just at every level, just very strange. Assassin's Creed The Fall. This is a reprinting of material, I believe, from 2010. There's a reference, there's some text boxes. Yeah, there it is. Originally published. I'm a fan of the Assassin's Creed series. When I read that there was a well-received, because there are reviews for the material from 14 years ago, about a Russian assassin, I'm like, sure. I'll sign up for that. I'll grab it. And here's the thing about Assassin's Creed. I love everything happening in the past. The stuff that's happening in the present, really the future generally, is just annoying as hell, and I want all of the stuff in the present to be over as quickly as possible so that I can get back into the Animus, back in the past, running on rooftops and killing people. A lot of this is in the present, and I'm like, couldn't you have given me some more Russian assassin stuff? That was the best. So this is alright as far as the story goes. The art is pretty good. It's just, I wanted, honestly, a different story. There's Tesla, who was an ally of the assassins, apparently. Anyway, it's okay. It's not great. It's not what I wanted. I don't know how many more of these Assassin's Creed comics I'm going to get if I can't trust reviews from 14 years ago about what is good and what's not, but this exists. So after that, which was also an oversized, see the page count there, I had, at that point, 2 books left, and I knew that this was going to be just dense with words. I'm like, I can't save Weatherman for last. I need almost a palate cleanser. So I read Weatherman, and it was phenomenal. I loved it. I love these sort of brass knuckles that say Prez. She is the president of kind of the galaxy. President of the solar system? Yeah. Yeah, I don't want to give her that much credit. But there is another biological bomb that gets released, and there's some fallout from that. There's a bit of material as far as this largely checks in with the other characters, not what's happening with him, who has been the lead for the first 2 volumes. It's a lot of president stuff. It's a lot of cross, and it's very good. Weatherman is one of the best comics going right now. I love it. Art's great. Writing's amazing. This issue's great. It's one of those sort of middle of the arc things where everything's being moved into place. Not that much happens except for releasing a biological bomb on a moderately populated, I think they were talking about 30,000 people. None of that's good because all those people are dead now. It's great. It's just this is sort of set up for the end of the series, which is coming. This is of 7. So the back half is probably going to be a sprint for the finish. Weatherman is phenomenal. Can't praise it enough. Which leaves Helen of Wyndhorn as the final book that I grabbed this week. And much like the first issue, it is dense with words. And the words are good. The stories, I'm not complaining. It's just, you sort of just have to know what you're getting into. It's just talking about Bendis and, oh my god, it's just dense with words. So the interesting thing that I found here is All of this stuff is happening in the past, and there is a present where this guy, whose hand you can see there, we'll see more of him later. Time has passed in the present. Years have passed, actually, since the first issue. Not as much has passed in the past. So this guy was the one interviewing the woman, this woman, in the first issue, and she's talking about weirdness that happened in the past, the weirdness that we are now witnessing. And he left that out of his book that he wrote. That was him signing his book here, and he's like, so it was so weird and unbelievable that I had to leave it out, but he is now returning to it. And so it's parallel stories of the present and the past, and the weirdness, because this little thing shows up. And it's great. I love all of this. Art's amazing. Writing is great. I'm not complaining about the volume. It's just sort of, when I have this many books and so many of them are heavily worded, it gets to be a bit much sometimes. But it's not a complaint. It's great. It's excellent. It's recommended. This is a 5-issue series. We're on 2. Weirdness is going to continue. So that, after everything, is everything that I got this week from my local comic shop. As far as pick of the week goes, I have no clue. Possibly Kill Your Darlings. Let me see what else is in here. Yeah, I'm going to give it to Kill Your Darlings, but a bunch of this is great. I mean, Cobra Commander really just, I said rights the ship earlier, and like, holy cow. Just the best possible turnaround. This is an incredible amount of fun. Recommended. Also fun. Recommended. Hellblazer, if you're not shying away from, you know, dark subjects, grab this. It's both commentary on sort of the current and past state of America. Weatherman, as always, will get a recommendation, and Helen is also great. So yeah, pick of the week is going to, however, Kill Your Darlings. Grab this collection when that comes out. I said this once already, but I get all of my books from a local comic shop. If you don't know where yours is, you can use this URL to find the one closest to you. Thanks for watching.